Hey there, welcome to another episode of Hooks and Ladders, where we talk about songwriting in all its glory. My name is Blair Packham,
My name is Allister Bradley.
and we have a special guest here today. A rapper, a very accomplished rapper, a talented person, very collaborative, and a star as far as I'm concerned. This is Keysha Freshh.
What's going on?
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I really
So,
appreciate it.
so glad that you're here. So I wanted to ask you about writing to commission. This is a question we've asked some other people. What it's like to have a sort of a list of things to do when it comes to writing a song or a piece of music. How do you approach that? I mean, how different, let's say, how different is that from your normal form of writing?
With normal writing, as an artist, it's kind of like you can sit down and write a song. You can be driving, get inspiration. It's whatever you want. The output is whatever you want. The themes, the topics, the production. You have, total control over the sound that you output as an artist when you're creating for yourself, right? But when you're, working for a commission or someone's hiring you to do something very specific, there are parameters that you have to work within. There's a box that you have to stay in. Sometimes they tell you exactly what themes they want from you. When I was working with Nike, we did it was Nike and Canada Soccer. We were doing the sorority, which is a group I was part of, was commissioned to do a anthem kind of for the Canadian women's soccer team for the World Cup. This was, I think, 2018, right? So we were, it was like, okay, this is cool. We're excited. But was it 2019? One of the 2 years, but it was cool. We were excited, but it was like they had a checklist, a laundry list of things that we needed to hit, how it needed to sound. Like, of course, they have an idea. They're a company with already a vision, of visuals and everything to go along with it. They just needed audio. They just needed artists to provide the tracking, right? So it was like when they told us like this is what we kind of want, it's like this was a challenge because now we're sitting here trying to figure out how do we accommodate these things while still maintaining our artist integrity. Some of the I guess ideas they had or we felt were kind of like, okay, this is different for us. And we love the challenge though. That's one thing I can say as an artist. I absolutely loved the challenge. So I was like, okay, let's sit down and figure this out. They rented out a studio time and it was like unlimited. It was like just be here until you need to go, right? So they rented out a studio time and we kind of were down and we are there and we're chilling and we're like, okay, guys, how do we hit these themes but still kind of have our swag to it? Keep our je ne sais quoi. Like we have something that we're known for as a group, which is why they brought us on, right? So it was like, how do we maintain that while still giving them what they want? And we admittedly we struggled a little bit. Like we were submitting and they were like, that's good, but we just try to do this. They had notes really, really, like very poignant notes. Like the notes were very descriptive of what they want, right? So it was kind of like, okay, we thought we hit it, but we didn't, and that's okay. For us, it was kind of like, okay, someone's telling us to go change something that we created. Like that's a little difficult because as artists, you're not used to it, but we did. And we kept adjusting it and we kept adjusting it and we kept adjusting it because not only like we're getting paid to do this, but they treat us so well during the process. They were trying to they're very accommodating for for who we were. And it was like working with Nike and Canada Soccer and like FIFA. Like this was big, right? And we were so excited, so we were doing anything that they kind of were asking in the directions that they were trying to go. And for me, that opened a world of like, wow, there's this whole space that exists where you're being hired to do something, and this is how technical it is because these people already have their vision in mind. So now going and working with TSN last year for the Angela James piece was like, okay, working with another corporation who has the visuals already, they have their idea already of what this is supposed to look like. You just need to provide a soundtrack, like a tracking for it. But because of the experience with Nike, for me, it was like, okay, out of the gate, I let them know, like, I'm gonna be very creative with this. Like, give me the creativity. Like, I got this. But I knew the questions to ask as well. What exactly are the shots you guys are going to be getting? What is the point? What is the point you're trying to hit? What's the market you're trying to hit? Like, I was able to ask questions based on my past experience. And based on the answers, it was like, okay, I know exactly how to approach this piece. The turnaround time for that was very, very short. But I was able to produce something within that time that didn't need any revisions. It was like the first product was like, that's the one, like perfect.
Oh, that's amazing. And it really, the end result, I'm not kidding, every single time I tear up. I mean, I've watched it a dozen times or more, and every single time it's so moving. And I really think you nailed it. I mean, I don't know. You have a real skill for this that I don't think a lot of artists have, which is, you're able to take direction without foregoing, as you say, your sound, who you are. And I think that's essential, because I think that's what the people who are commissioning you want. I mean, I think that's what TSN wanted. I think that's what Nike very likely wanted. And Nike, by the way, great fit, because you're a sneakers fan.
Oh yeah, that's
you
the
collect
brand.
sneakers.
I mean, wherever I go, no product placement, but wherever I go, I'm very big on Nike. I'm very big on sneakers. So just to collaborate with them is a dream. There's a bucket list, So
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna bend over backwards to be super accommodating to whatever they want, but then you get this confidence to you to approach the next stuff. Like, now I know what I'm doing, So
Yeah.
It sure seems like you knew what you were doing, because, like you say, you go into this discussion with TSN, and before you even deliver anything, before you deliver a beat, before you deliver any lyrics, you say, no, I got a list of questions for you. So you had the opportunity there to enhance, almost rewrite the brief.
And I also think what it was too is it's like time management. Going into the job for Canada Soccer and stuff was kind of like, we just were like, whatever you guys want us to do, you tell us. And I think a lot of that could have been mitigated if we asked more questions, or if we got a direct kind of sense of, okay, this is, what you guys want. This is our parameters, like having that conversation. So that's why I said going to work with TSN, I was equipped, because now it's like, we have a short window. Let's not waste time going back and forth. Me submitting something, it doesn't fit. What exactly are you looking for? How is this piece going to look? And just based on the questions and the answers I got, I was able to do something where we didn't need revisions and back and forth. It was just done. You know what I mean? So again, every process you learn something. I think there's in life, there is no real failures. There's not much, especially in the music industry. You learn. They're all lessons. I learned from all these things. I used to feel bummed out about things if they didn't go my way. Now it's like, no, what did you learn from that? What went wrong? What went right? How do we apply it for the next thing? So I love it. I love doing this. I love commissioning stuff. Like, I love it now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people who haven't done it imagine that the freedom they have as an artist to do whatever the heck they want is must not be compromised, and they have these sort of imaginary standards. I think they're imaginary because I mean, depending on what you're doing. I mean, Nike was a fit where you really believed in the product and in the soccer world, but also the Angela James thing for TSN. It was a political statement, really, and it was something that you could believe in fully and 100%, even if it wasn't something you would have written on your own necessarily, or at that moment. But I just think that you're able to accommodate something when you believe in the message. You're in a way that a lot of writers would reject, because it's not that thing they're feeling at that instant, right?
Yep. 100%.
And I think that's a great quality. You and I worked together on some children's stuff, and I think that's fantastic, because your stuff can be pretty hard edged, but here you are writing for kids.
Yeah, and that, even with that, like, it was like, okay, in the grand scheme of things and other things I've worked on, like, that really, the revisions that were sent over were not anything major. They weren't like, no. When I first went into it, Blair was like, less words. Let's try this again. So I was like, okay, now I know what you want. You know what I mean? It was either this or that. So I gave you this, that one wasn't it. So it's that, you know what I mean? So I was able to go in, and then the second time it was like, that's it. And then the revisions that they sent us were like minor, just things to move around and edit. It was, minor stuff. So it's like, I feel like now it's like, okay, I'm getting the hang of working within someone else's kind of parameters, and I like it. It's fun. Like you said, who I am as a hip hop artist and a musician, I think it's like, this is the sound that I have. But coming into working with children's, songs and stuff, and even though some of them are commissioned hip hop songs, you still can't really be as grimy as you might want to be, or as you're used to being. So
Yeah.
figuring out, okay, how do I tone this all the way down? But the good thing is, right before going into the projects with Blair, I did a song with Maestro Fresh on his children's album, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I have to deliver this song as clean as I can, trying to keep it hip hop, but still at the same time, remember that there are 5 and 6 years olds listening to this, right?
Yeah.
So just that kind of experience with writing on that album, which is Juno nominated, is now like, okay, Blair's hitting me up about this. I got it a little bit, I know what I'm doing a little. So yeah. I thought it was really cool. I think everything kind of lines me up for the next thing in my life. Apparently that's how it goes. So yeah.
Sure seems to be the way for you, and yeah, and it's been a real pleasure working with you. We work together in a bunch of ways, but yeah, you're a real pro, and it's fantastic.
Thank you, Blair.
Yeah, I'm gushing now. Yeah, I think that the ability to adapt like that, especially in a changing business like the music business, is really an important thing important skill for you to have. And I just think it's great, and you've proven that you can do that. Well, this has been great. Thank you very much for joining us. Your insights are really valuable to our viewers, I know, and to me as well as your openness, which is great. Your willingness to try shit. That's a great quality.
Yeah, I agree. That's one thing I agree with. In this music industry, that's what you got to do. You got to try stuff. Don't, people say no. I'm so used to saying yes these days. It's almost scary because I find I'm saying yes to things I have no clue what I'm doing, but I learn it. You learn it, you jump in there, and it's magic what you unlock in yourself. So.
But I love what you said earlier on when you said, yeah, I'm looking at the brief, I'm finding my way into the box that is being presented to me, but I'm taking all that I am into this. I'm not forgetting what it is that I'm good at, that I'm bringing to the table. So that's great.
Because that's why they called you, whoever it is. They called you because they want you. They want that thing you've got.
I agree, yeah.
All right, well, we look forward to you joining us again. Hopefully you can do that sometime soon. Thanks so much. Keysha Freshh.
Peace.